Ah, ah, oh, tá, porra. Eu não sei se. Mas tanto faz. Vou ficar assim agora. Meu Deus. Nossa, não. Ah, não. Que isso? Alguém já chegou? É o Jogas? Que? Um, lá. Lá. Porra, caralho, isso tá cedo, mano. Meu Deus
Good
do céu.
evening, gentle listener.
Que é isso? Eu tô ficando maluco, mano. Calma. Ah, tá, caraca. É o Henrique, mano. É não? Não, não, é o Henrique. Se não for, eu vou ficar meio triste, tá ligado? Porque eu errei. É não? Caralho. Ai, mano. Kim. C-Y-N. Ah. É. Y-N, mano. O que eu vou pesquisar é o Twitch. Porra, caralho. Ver como que tá a live da Twitch. Tá, pelo jeito tá tudo. Ih, caralho, calma aí. Prontinho. Acho que tá tudo feito. É o Jogas. Ah, tá, caralho, mano. Eu tô maluco, mano. Beleza. Seja. Olá, olá, olá. É. Você deve estar se perguntando o que minha pessoa, irei fazer hoje. Eu não sei o que eu tô fazendo também de. Cara, eu tô quase dormindo, morrendo. E coisas normais da vida, sabe? Mas eu estou aqui para jogar o novíssimo jogo que lançou. Jogo que eu já joguei. Eu já joguei. O Stanley Parable. Stanley Parable Deluxe. Qual é o teu nick na Twitch? É Gerbaldo Twitch. Eu devia botar. Eu devia botar no meu. Aqui embaixo, né? Ah, eu vou pôr aqui. Da Twitch na minha descrição. YouTube não vai ficar bravo se eu botar, né? Não, né? É, né? Pronto. E pronto. Da Twitch. Tá. Eita, poxa, calma. Aê, minha net
Eita,
tá uma
poxa, calma.
bosta. Caralho, para de falar. Net tá. Ih, caralho, travando muito. Tenta no YouTube, mano. Ah, ou no YouTube que tá ruim, ou é aqui que tá ruim. Eu ainda não botei os widgets de follows, essas coisas. Eu ainda tinha que botar, mano. Pô. Tá bem. Hoje é o dia. Hoje é o dia que eu irei jogar Stanley Parable. Um jogo muito legal. Muito incrível. Então, se prepare porque hoje não haverá voltas. Depois desse dia incrível. Então, vamos começar. Bem, na verdade só tem uma pessoa agora, mas acho que uma pessoa é mais que suficiente para nós começarmos uma aventura. Não é mesmo? Concordo. Caraca, essa música. Eu não pensava que essa música ia ser tão frenética, caralho. Isso aqui ia ser uma musiquinha mais de boa, tá ligado? Tipo, é hoje? Então é hoje. É hoje. Ah, eu só tô fazendo um bagulho. Aí, show. Deixa eu começar aqui o Stanley Parable, né? Tu, 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 não tá capturando porque não está capturando a tela do jogo. Ah não, mano. Era o que faltava, mano. Deixa eu ver, que horas são? Pera aí, eu tenho que ver que horas são. 9 horas. São 9 horas? É, 9 horas, ok. Aí, tá aparecendo. Caralho. É. Ah, eu tinha perguntado antes. Ah, essa é a sua hora favorita? Ou isso poderia simplesmente ser. Ou você simply not resist. Ah, você simplesmente não resistiu em me dar o tempo correto de novo? Depois de tudo, eu sei como você gosta de botar o tempo correto. Ok, agora estou curioso. Quão, o quão certo está o a 9 da manhã que você botou? Vamos usar outro slide para descobrir. Deixa eu ver. Ainda são. Ah, vou botar bem assim porque são. Eu vou botar. Vou deixar assim. Você quer saber? Eu posso dizer, seja lá de qual for o quão certo está o relógio, eu estou tendo realmente um bom tempo ajustando essas configurações. Eu me sinto como se eu estivesse aprendendo mais sobre você e como você gosta de como as coisas sejam. É bom coletar é, é bom coletar informações. Eu desejo que nós tivéssemos mais sliders, mas nós fomos, nós já passamos por todos os slides que eu tenho. Talvez eu possa inventar uns novos slides para você, para pegar novas informações de você. Não deve ser muito difícil. Deixa eu fazer uma compilação aqui de alguns novos. Deve estar pronto na próxima vez que você ligar o jogo. Ah, Ok. Começou bem interessante já, não é mesmo? Realmente eu não estava esperando algo assim acontecer. É o novo, é o novo. É o novo, sim. Então, vamos começar.
This is the story of a man named
Essa é a
Stanley.
história de um homem chamado Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
Stanley
employee number
trabalhava numa
427.
companhia, de uma grande...
Employee number
Opa,
427's
ok,
job
ok.
was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Ok.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok, pra quem não sabe, Stanley Parable é um jogo que tipo, contém vários e vários finais, no qual você tem que ir jogando o jogo e descobrir todos eles. Eu não me lembro se no primeiro jogo eu consegui todos os finais, mas eu sei que no novo agora tem novos finais.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Eu não consigo ler o que tá escrito, mas isso aqui é interessante. Ih. Tá. Fecha a porta dentro da sala. Qual sala? Cara, pior que eu não me lembro direito também. Tudo que eu já fiz, não me lembro de muito bem dos finais, faz muito tempo. Porta ali, tudo. A sala inicial. Ah! Putz! Ah, acho que tem um final assim, né? É verdade. Ah, ok. Ué! Tá.
Oh, new content?
Novo
What does that
conteúdo.
mean, new content?
Ok, né? Já comemos, vamos lá. Medo. Medo do que pode acontecer a qualquer momento. Ah, porra.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Ok. Da hora, gostei.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Elevador. Opa! Tá, mano, eu gosto de apertar em tudo nesse jogo, mano. Pra ter certeza que não perca nada, né, mano? Eu consigo voltar? Ok, vamos lá.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Alô?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or...
oh.
There we go.
Tá.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Bora.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
What?
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ok, né?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks.
Mas eu quero novo
having a great time together like always.
Não.
What do you say, friend?
Não. What the? Alô? Alô, isso que tá certo.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Mano. Foda-se. Vamos lá. Primeira vez aqui. Ou, na moral. Fala aí, mano. Tô na sala de novo. De novo, no conteúdo de novo. Pô, mano. Olha aqui, velho. Eu tentei pular, mas eu não consegui. Eu pressionei espaço.
You remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ok.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Zona da memória. Lembranças.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then,
Caralho.
video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Meu Deus do céu, olha essas páginas antigas, mano. Meu Deus, era assim mesmo. Caralho. Bons tempos. Ah, Stanley Parable. Que da hora. Sorria porque isso aconteceu. Caraca, eu foguei esse demo, mano. Porra. As conquistas. Não joga por 5 anos, você tá tentando pegar essa conquista no Stanley Parable. Esse que eu nunca consegui, na verdade, também. Porra. Caralho. Los Angeles. Assim. Ok. Tá. Eita, caia.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ah. Ok, deu vontade de comprar, mas tá. 130 no PlayStation? Caraca, eu paguei 30 aqui no PC, mano. Você tá maluco, mano? Ó! Portal. Calma. Ah, é, tinha uma fase de portal, não? No Stanley Parable. Tinha Minecraft? Caralho, tinha tanta coisa assim. Nossa. Ah. Eu consigo abrir isso? Não. Tá bom, então. Bizarro, bizarro. Mas tá. Ah. Ó, as portas. Faz a escolha. Sei lá, eu não sei, mano. Não lembro de muita coisa, mano.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Eu... The Serious Room. Eu não sei bem o que é isso. Alô? Alô? Ok.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Ok. Ah,
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Whoa.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Meu
Surely these
Deus.
reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Ah, não. A gente vai ver as reviews da Steam, mano. Ok, vamos ver.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Pô, tu tentava hackear o jogo, caralho, eu não me lembro disso. Pô, o jogo deu maior espaço agora, mano. Mais uma review ruim.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Por isso que você nunca deve ver os comentários de alguma coisa que você faz. Bem, pelo menos não ver os comentários ruins. Mas Stanley Parable é realmente um jogo muito bom, velho. Meu Deus.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Ok. Ok. Wow.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245.
that the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah
Até
blah
relógio
blah
que eu acho que se deixar ele
blah, blah, blah.
falar.
We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 240.
Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Deus.
That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Foi mesmo?
Unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Meu
Back.
Deus!
Oh, my goodness, I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking... Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months.
Quanto tempo foi? Mano, isso aquilo foi em um ano? Pode ter sido 10? Mano.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time.
E agora? Vou apertar de novo?
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Meu Deus, tá dando uma goteira aqui, mano. Oh, oh. Mano, eu tô ficando com medo, velho. Ah. Ah, não tá tão ruim. Eu queria saber quanto tempo se passou. Oh. Ah, é. Podemos dizer que passou um tempo. Não! O que aconteceu? Deus do céu. Ah, meu Deus do céu. Vai embora. Ah. Ah. Era um oceano, não? Mano. Aonde eu vou? Deus. Acabou?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Mano, só que...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. What the fuck? Okay.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay. Okay. Ok, bem interessante, uau. Ok, voltei. Bora. Ele não falou nada, né? Não, né? Ok, vamos lá.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
Okay.
The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time
Hello?
ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh!
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Ok, bora.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Ok. Da hora, mano, pô. Eu gostaria de um Stanley Parable 2, pô. Mano, mas tá, mano, tá parecendo muito tipo as iniciais de Dying Light 2, tá ligado, mano? Ok, eu vou chutar que isso aqui é um monte de referência, talvez, de nomes de jogos, mas não consigo perceber agora as referências. Mas da hora que tem isso aqui. Opa! E o hotness.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
Ok.
I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts,
that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
É um ônibus, cara. Caralho, que porra. Interessante, mano. Uau!
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Nossa, bora, mano. Por favor. Mano, isso é muito incrível. Eles fizeram tudo isso, cara. Por favor, sem screenshots. Qual que é screenshot mesmo? É F5? F3? F4? Oh!
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version...
Yeah. Email report. Huh. Username, password. Password? Como assim senha? Mano, isso aqui... Ok.
The office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons, but I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Get well someday. Calma, esse aqui é o Stanley? Esse aqui. Com certeza.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Trouxa. Beleza.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Ok. New is achievement. Ok.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Pô, sério? Você não vai me devolver os pulos, não? Nossa, beleza, cara. Não, tudo bem. Ok, ali parece ser o bagulho principal. Vejamos. Meu Deus, eu tô de coisa. Tá, Map. Achievement. B! Mano, eu quero muito ir no B. Botão que diz o nome Z. Não, vou no B, foda-se. Mano, sério, se isso funciona, realmente funcionar. Nossa, eu tenho que... Meu Deus, por favor.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. Okay. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Meu nome é Jim.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim,
falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Consigo ir embora? Ah, então tá bom lá.
Jim. Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Jim. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are. Jim.
Tá puto. Eu gostava de ser Jim. Jim era uma pessoa melhor do que eu de agora. Okay.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Será que tem uma conquista pra tirar todas as fotos? Jump Circle Infinite Hole. Eu quero. Me dê. Tá, foi por ali que a gente vê, né? O que é aquilo ali? É um balde?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ok, vou levar o balde agora. Meu Deus.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Ok, fechamos. Achievement. Eu não sei porque isso aqui tá aparecendo num lugar que eu não deveria ir. Tá, vamos ver.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Eu vou consertar, pera aí. Porra. Ok.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Vamos ver por aqui, ó. Ali parece ter coisa. É que eu acho que aquele ali no meio é o último. Ah. Ok. Ah.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm
Now?
truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole
and
that you
the
can
final.
fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Ah, aqui é... Tá, eu tenho duas escolhas. Se tiver alguém aí no chat, eu vou deixar você fazer a escolha. Eu vou pra luz ou eu vou pro buraco? Decida. Essa é uma escolha meio complicada, mano. Luz ou buraco? Tá, talvez eu queira ver algo.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Ok, meio assustador, mas... Mano, realmente tem como coletar isso aqui. Ok, interessante, bem.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Ah, aqui é a saída. Holy shit. Ok, deixa eu ver. Eu não fui ainda. Epilogue. É o epilogue. Ah, tem coisa ali, ó. Aí. Ah. Pera, como é que eu chego ali? Interessante. Tem alguma forma de chegar nisso? Ah. Opa! Ah, aqui, ó. Ah, mano, eu quero muito ver o que tem nessa sala. Mano, tem muita coisa, velho.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Ok, entendi. Tô adorando, cara. Vejamos aqui. Aham, office decoration. Deixa eu ver, esse 3. 3. Ah, cadê o 3? Ó. Tem 3? Ok. Preço até, ok. Tá, não, tá 30? Eu comprei por 31 pila, cara. Tá com desconto até 5 de maio, cara. Doge. 10 BR. Deixa eu ver lá o buraco. O quê? Ah. Ok. Na verdade, esquisito. É. Ah. Ok. Nesse exato momento tem a escolha de ir no buraco infinito ou sair da exibição. Vai, Jorge, vai, você decide aí. Eu saio da exibição aqui, da saída principal, ou eu pulo no buraco? Decida. Ó, ali é a saída principal. E ali tem um buraco infinito. Buraco negro, mano. Eu nunca fiz nenhum desses finais, então não. Ó, saída. Buraco infinito. Saída, buraco infinito. Saída, buraco infinito. Pô, eu acho que o Jorge. Nossa, só porque eu perguntei, o Jorge deve ter saído aí. Vamos saída, vai. É que. Eu quero continuar, talvez.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Sim. Ainda bem que eu não
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel
E aí, bigode?
Here we
Caraca,
go. Version 2.
Finalmente chegou.
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Não
This
consigo ler.
isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh? Não. Mano.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
Que balão!
employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple.
Eu vou deixar
He
tocar.
sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to
Tô no
push them,
recreio aqui, manda
and in
papo
what
antes
order.
do... Então tá,
This is
eu
what
tô jogando Stanley
employee
Parable, acabou de
427 did
lançar.
every day,
E...
every
Pera aí.
month.
Acabou de lançar e eu estou jogando agora. The Sequels Now! Caraca, que foda, mano. E eu já joguei um pouco de Stanley Parable antes. Eu acho que até fez uma live uma vez. E agora lançou um novo. Daí eu tô jogando novo.
Of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
Ooh.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions,
Yeah, well,
call a meeting, or
something.
even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly
Adeus,
wrong.
bigode.
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket.
Yeah! Teu balde, porra. O conteúdo não tá aqui.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ok, vamos seguir o que ele tá falando.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There.
Yeah!
Now it's settled. No more debate. No more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Seu trouxa. Não, vou ficar aqui mais. Vivos.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here,
Opa.
and I'm going to slap it on as well because I...
Me dê. Yeah. Uh-oh. Alô? Oh.